A battle of peak proportions looms at the base of the Rocky Mountains. East meets West as the USAC Mci Worldcom National and Western States Midget Series combine for a showdown. Who will ascend and sit atop the summit? Thunder has the climb next. ESPN Speed World welcomes you to Fountain, Colorado in the shadows of Pikes Peak at Pikes Peak International Raceway for the USAC Mci Worldcom National and Western States Midget cars in action here. The national points have Ryan Newman trailing Jason Leffler by just 79 markers and Jerry Kuntz Jr. within 100 points of the national title. Thank you, Larry. We're set to go now with this 10-lap semi-feature event. The top 6 go to the feature. Here's a lineup. Steve Payton and Wally Pankratz up on the front row. In row 2, Travis Wellpott and Ed Carpenter, couple of Central Indiana boys. In the third row, Sarah McCune from Ohio and Clay Klepper from California. Row number 4, Jay Drake in car 15 and Chris Schultz in the 30X. Shane Scully and Mark DeBeaumont, the Western States points battlers, are back in the 5th row. In the 6th row, John Stark and Keith Roush. Back in row number 7, we have John Herb on the inside and Jason Lynch to his right, and Rick Treadway will be the final starter in this semi-feature event. Again, 10 laps of competition, couple of onboard cameras for you. We're on board right now with Wally Pankratz, the CarQuest Cage Cam. He'll start on the outside of row 1.
And you can see he starts in the front row. Look how wide this racetrack is. A lot of room for these midgets. That's why these guys love coming to this racetrack and running here. A lot of room entering the corners as well as on the straightaways.
And also a CarQuest Cage Cam on Travis Wellpott's machine. He starts 3rd. Up ahead is the pole sitter, Steve Payton.
Right, and from his 2nd row position, you can see exiting turn number 4, going down that main straightaway. Again, a lot of room for these midgets. They're very small in this track, but boy, they do a great job. They run well here.
Don't often get a chance to see the Western States drivers on our Thunder telecast, but this is a combined event now. They've already run combined events at Phoenix, at Lincoln, Nebraska, and at the High Banks of Belleville for the Belleville Nationals, but this event also counts for both series here at Fountain, Colorado. Back down to Gary Lee.
Well, Bob, this field is loaded with talent. In fact, many of the drivers from the Western States Series did not qualify all that well. Those that went out early in qualifying had better times as the track started to heat up. But you look at row 5, Mark DeBeaumont and Shane Scully, they lead the point standings out west. Now in the row in front of them, look at Jay Drake in the black 15. That's the potent John Lawson car with the Gertie power plant, the stealth chassis. The Gertie had an ignition problem in qualifying yesterday. Look for Jay to go to the front.
And Larry, we already have one female in the field. Sarah Fisher qualified and will start 5th in the 25-lapper. And now Sarah McCune will try to get into the feature by way of the qualifying event. She's in that blue number 58.
Yes, she's been running midgets for a couple of years now. She's proved to be very competitive. All the guys seem to like her. She went to Australia and raced down there last year, so she's got a lot of experience in these cars and has done very well this year.
On board with Wally Pankratz as we look back on Ed Carpenter in that yellow number 3. Ed, of course, the stepson of Indianapolis Motor Speedway President Tony George. Now we're on board with Travis Wellpott as he gets right in behind the pole sitter Steve Payton, headed for the green flag. 10 laps of racing with the top 6 finishers going to the big feature. Pace begins to quicken in turn number 4. The green flag is out, and here we go.
Oh, did you see Eddie Carpenter? He got a little tap from the back end, headed right straight for the fence, going down the straightaway, and went from 4th back to about 10th spot very quickly. I think that was Clay Klepper in the 17 car that actually tapped him.
And the pole sitter, Steve Payton, did not get a particularly good start. He's dropped back a couple of positions. We're on board with Wellpott, who's dropped into 2nd. The leader is Wally Pankratz. The scramble is on for 4th position. That's Sarah McCune down to the low side of the racetrack.
And you can see these cars running 3, 4, even 5 wide at some spots going down that front straightaway. It's very wide open entering turn 1. There's a lot of different lines that you can run, and even through the middle of the corner right there, you can see 3 wide some places.
Heading into turn number 3, indeed 3 wide here. That's Clay Klepper on the bottom of the racetrack. De Beaumont is in the white number 11, and Jay Drake on the outside. Drake moving up nicely on the high side, now goes to the inside as he battles with Sarah McCune.
Well, Payton passed Sarah McCune coming off of 4. She went back around him going into 1. And meanwhile, Jay Drake blew both of them away as he really is moving up, as Gary Lee suggested he might.
Indeed, Jay Drake now up to the 3rd position. We go back here and check on the action in the middle of the pack. That's Ed Carpenter up there in the yellow car on the top side of the racetrack. And the maroon car is Chris Schultz in number 30X.
That blue car on the inside making the 4 wide is Rick Treadway as he started dead last. Ooh, Sarah McCune hard on the brakes. That's the brake smoke. She got on the brakes. She got in a little too hot and got the left front smoking a little bit because of the brakes.
And Jay Drake, who's now running in 2nd position, a little squirrely going through the corner. On board with Travis Wellpott, looking back to Sarah McCune.
Sarah McCune has done a very nice job, very smooth. She got passed by a couple of cars and came right back and went by them. Now then she's going by Wellpott on the inside. She's got that move into turn 1 down pretty pat, it looks like. That's where she's made most of her moves.
They run wheel to wheel through the 1st and 2nd corners onto the backstretch. McCune still trying to get that 3rd spot from Wellpott, and she does it going into the 3rd corner.
Meanwhile, that's Eddie Carpenter in that yellow car way on the outside back there. He's gained several spots in the last couple of laps.
Travis Wellpott begins to fall back just a little bit in a battle up front. That's Jay Drake in the black number 15 going for the lead and getting it from Wally Pankratz.
Well, it didn't take him very long to get that lead after starting well back in the field. Now Wally goes back to the inside, just couldn't get in there enough. You can see that Wally's getting a little bit loose. That back end wiggling around on him, that's not a good sign pretty early in the race to have a loose race car.
On board with Wally Pankratz down the front straightaway here into corner number 1. Speed's incredible here, but as you said, Larry, there's a lot of racing room out there.
Well, these cars are fairly small, probably the smallest race cars that run on this mile racetrack. A lot of room, and these guys obviously take a lot of care in what they're doing. Oh, that's tough
Rick
luck.
Treadway slows down and pulls off the racetrack. Meanwhile, a great battle for 4th here. Payton and De Beaumont are wheel to wheel. The question is there going to be a caution because of Treadway's car? It's off the racetrack, but the USAC officials may determine that they need to throw the caution and get it behind the wall. And indeed, that is the situation. A caution comes out on lap number 7, first of the afternoon.
And that battle for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th is really heated up. Those guys battling, they all know what position they have to be in to transfer.
Rick Treadway exits his car, but it's all over for the young man from Indianapolis, who's the son of Fred Treadway, one of the Pep Boys in the Racing League owners. So our caution is out here at Pikes Peak International Raceway. Jay Drake, Wally Pankratz, Sarah McCune, Steve Payton, and Mark De Beaumont are the top 5. We'll be right back. Three more laps to go in this 10-lap semi-feature event. Top 6 transfer to the feature. Right now it's Drake, Pankratz, McCune, Payton, De Beaumont, and Ed Carpenter. Let's go back to the original start of this race and take a look at what happened to Ed Carpenter.
We're looking out the back of Wally Pankratz's car. Carpenter got tagged right there by Klepper. He headed straight for the fence, had to get out of the throttle because his heart stopped beating, went clear back to 10th. Now let's go down to Gary Lee, who's going to tell us a little more about Wally Pankratz.
Well, Wally runs in 2nd position, and really it's no surprise that he's following Jay Drake, because that's that potent Lawson car. Once they got the ignition fixed on 15, you expect him to go at the front. But Wally, of course, has been a regular with the USAC Midgets, the Western States Midgets, and the Silver Bullet Series for many years. Now in his early 50s, he admits he's going to start curtailing his racing activity to devote more time to his daughter, Randy, who is now in contention for the TQ Championship in the USAC Western States TQ Championship. So next season, you might see Randy racing more in the full-size midgets and her dad racing less.
Pace car is off the track. This should be good. These final 3 laps as we determine who goes to the 25-lap feature. Jay Drake leads them down. Pankratz second. Oh, look at Sarah McCune moving to the inside and getting a great jump. She's got the lead.
She did a terrific job, but look at Jay Drake. He lost 3 spots as everybody went around him. He got a bad start. The engine, I don't think, picked up very well, but Sarah McCune was on the ball more than anybody else.
Jay Drake back to 5th position. Now his concern is just making a transfer spot. A terrible beginning on this restart for Jay Drake. Looking back now on Schultz as he tries to get up into a transfer spot.
And here you can see that Jay Drake, once he got that thing wound up, once he got it going, he's moving back towards the front as he goes inside Carpenter and tries to go around Pancratz. But Eddie Carpenter really has found a way around this racetrack much higher than anybody else, but he likes it out there and is running quick out there.
Young Mr. Carpenter won a USAC race earlier this year down in Louisville, Kentucky. Right now he's in 3rd spot as Jay Drake comes up to challenge him. And there's a good battle going on back there for the transfer position. And look at Drake. He makes it 3 wide into turn 1.
This is the last lap. The white flag is out. Jay Drake down inside of Carpenter. These guys battling for 4th spot. Meanwhile, back there in the back, they're battling for that transfer position.
On board with Wally Pancratz, looking back to Jay Drake on the right and Ed Carpenter on the left. Now Carpenter gets that 3rd position. They're headed for the checkered flag. McCune wins it. Finishing 2nd is Pancratz, then Carpenter. Jay Drake is 4th. Steve Payton and Mark de Beaumont are the final transferees.
Well, Sarah McCune did a terrific job on that restart. She took the lead and never looked back. She just pretty much walked away. She had about a 6-car length lead there at the end. And you got to give her a lot of credit. She did the right thing. Let's take a look at that restart, which won the race for her. She laid back just a little bit, got a run on these guys, and went by them before they even got to the starting line. Let's go down to Gary Lee.
Well, Bob, she came down to victory lane. I said, congratulations, I'm the trophy boy, and she almost didn't climb out of the race car, but great ride. You caught all those guys asleep on that restart.
Yeah, I don't know what they were doing, and my car came off, so I was like, well, I'm just going to go. I don't know what they were doing. I'm glad we made it out of the race. We had some problems yesterday. I knew we were fast earlier yesterday morning, so obviously we must have figured it out.
Talk about that Roush power plant.
Well, I think the altitude was really screwing it up at first, and now we went back to what we had originally when we were fast, and I think that's what it is. I mean, we've had nothing but good luck with the Roush. I mean, they're really reliable, and I'm really happy with it.
Well, guys, we're going to have like 25 drivers in this race, but only 2 are going to get noticed, and they're both named Sarah.
And let's take a look at the final results of this 10-lap semi-feature. The top 6 go to the 25-lapper coming up.
Well, our plans right now for next season is to run 3 consecutive years with Team Pelfrey, and we're real excited, and Dale's already met with us, and we've already talked some serious talk about it.
Nothing's ever definite until you're doing it, as far as I'm concerned, but it looks pretty good, I think, for a Busch deal, maybe with Sabco guys.
On the plate for next year is definitely running the USAC Midget Series, and hopefully, we're working on it right now, hopefully we'll be getting a dirt car put together with another engine from Roush and running the whole series for points. And what I want to be doing next year is also have a Silver Crown team.
Well, for sure, I'm just probably going to be running Silver Crown and Midgets again like I have been. What I'd really like to do next season is wake up every morning.
Well, we'd like to see him in a race car because he's one of our favorite people. Here's the lineup for the feature. On the front row, Lewis and Meseraull. Fike and Leffler make up row number 2. The third row, Sarah Fisher and Ryan Newman. In row number 4, it's Dave Steele, Chuck Gurney Jr. Row number 5, Brian Gerster and John Nervo. In the 6th row, Jerry Coons Jr., flanked by Ronnie John Cox. Row number 7, Bobby Boone and Danny Dryden. Back in row number 8, the 26 of Andy Mishner and the 62 of John Heidenreich. In the 9th row, A.J. Davis in 128 and Ryan Scott in 48. Then the transferees, Sarah McCune and Wally Pancratz in the 10th row. Ed Carpenter and Jay Drake back in row number 11. Steve Payton and Mark de Beaumont in the 12th row. And the MCI provisional goes to Chris Schultz. He will be the final starter in this 25-lap feature.
And we'll be riding along with Wally Pancratz, starting back in 20th position. A lot of cars in front of him. He ran very well, and he might have learned something that will help him for the feature race.
Here's Mark de Beaumont. Will also be on board with him as the race goes along. The drivers scuffing in their tires, getting set for the action. Down to Gary Lee.
Hey, Bob and Larry, the 2 fastest qualifiers have something in common besides the Dryden chassis they're running. In fact, Ryan Newman just began his senior year at Purdue University in West Lafayette last week, and young Sarah Fisher begins her freshman year at Ohio State University next month. They're both majoring in engineering.
Well, I've seen Ryan Newman do a lot of engineering on that race car, so he should be well suited for that. And there's another guy that works very hard on his race cars, David Steele. He usually builds them, works on them, engineers on them, does everything. And he usually starts up front a little farther than this. He had 7th quick time here today, and I'm sure he's going to try to improve on that.
Starting on the inside of row number 4, Dave Steele from Tampa, Florida. There's Dan Drynan in the number 33 car. He has the 14th starting position.
Yes, and he tells us he's going to try to get an IRL deal together next year, work on his customers, the midgets that he builds, of course, and his Silver Crown cars, and as well as drive the IRL. So that should be quite a deal for him if he can pull that off next year.
Just a little more than a lap to go before the green flag flies on this 25-lap race. Up on the front row, Michael Lewis and Thomas Meseraull. Oh, we see Chuck Gurney Jr. down in the warm-up lane already before the start. He's going to be headed for the pits. Jason Leffler has the 4th starting position. Big things expected from this guy during the 25-lapper.
He's always very competitive. I don't think you're going to see him laying back very much. He's going to go for that lead very quickly. Meanwhile, down in the pit area, you can see the gentleman on the left. He's looking at the distributor. There's a hole in the hood there, and he's checking the wires to make sure they're all tight. Evidently, there's a misfire in that engine, and they're trying to see if they can find out exactly what's causing the misfire. Now that, you see he's touching the exhaust. He's trying to find out which one is cold. If there's one of them that's colder than the others, then that's the cylinder that's misfiring, and they'll try to go to work on that cylinder and try to get it going.
And he's found it. Chuck Gurney Jr. is, needless to say, the son of the veteran of USAC competition, Chuck Gurney. Now the pace car pulls off the track, and we are set to go racing at Pikes Peak International. The green flag is out. Here we go, and look at him fan out 5 wide going into turn number 1, and the pole sitter once again gets a poor start, and Sarah Fisher has taken the lead.
Sarah Fisher comes all the way from row number 3 down on the bottom of the racetrack and went by about 5 cars and took the lead going into number 1.
And they're still 3 wide through the 3rd and 4th corners in the middle of the pack. Meanwhile, up front, it is Sarah Fisher with the lead. Battle for 2nd position. That's Fike in the 69 car, who has 2nd place right now, but a big challenge from Jason Leffler on the inside.
Leffler clear down below that white line, entering the corner. He did a little wiggle when he hit that line, actually, but kept it under control. Boy, these guys battling 3 and 4 wide. Look at that shot going down the back straightaway.
That's Ed Carpenter who's driving. Oh, and look at Meseraull. The young 18-year-old kid got a little wide going through the 3rd and 4th corners and lost several track position.
It's a good thing this racetrack is real wide, because he had a lot of room to gather that thing up, which he did, and kept right on pace. He's not that far behind.
And look who has come to the front. Jason Leffler has the lead, and in 2nd position, Ryan Newman, as Sarah Fisher, who led early, now has dropped back to 3rd spot, and Larry the Cream has risen to the top early.
Surprise, surprise, surprise. These 2 guys battling each other. They've done it all year long in the pavement racetracks, and you're not going to see anything different here today. Sarah Fisher, though, right now is hanging right in there with them, as is A.J. Pike.
Pike in the black number 69, running there in 4th position from Galesburg, Illinois, as Jason Leffler and Ryan Newman now begin to separate themselves just a little bit from the rest of the field. Back of them, however, a good battle. Here is Fike moving to the inside of Fisher and taking the 3rd spot.
Yes, and Sarah Fisher was smoking that right front tire. She started pushing the front end a little bit, and that's the reason she's moved backwards several spots here in the last couple of laps.
And there is Michael Lewis, the pole sitter, who has moved into 4th position. Up front, a great battle as Ryan Newman now looks to the outside of Leffler through the 3rd and 4th corners. Here he comes down the straightaway, hanging in behind. Now he goes to the inside and tries to get the lead from Leffler, and does.
Yeah, he just blew by him on the inside, slid right up in front of him. Now you're going to see Leffler try to do the same thing to him going into turn 3.
Down the backstretch, Leffler looks to the inside. Oh, we got a car smoking badly. That's A.J. Davis, young man from Indianapolis. A lot of smoke from that car. I don't know whether he had contact with the wall. I can't see any damage to the car, but a big puff of smoke. Maybe just an engine problem.
Yes, I think the engine just let go in that car. You can see the fluid running out from the bottom. He just had a big blow up with that engine. He's actually a crew member on the Pennzoil Panther crew, so he can get out of the race car and go to work on the other one now.
Started back in the 17th position, but it is all over for him as the Pep Boys Indy Racing League rescue team come to his aid. Here's a replay. Now, I don't think there was any contact, just lost the engine.
Yes, and he did a smart thing. He got way up next to the wall where none of the fluid would get down in the groove and bother all the rest of the race cars. So that was a good job by A.J. Davis. Now let's go down to Gary Lee and some more information on Chuck Gurney Jr.
Well, once again, Chuck Jr. said it was an ignition problem. They changed one spark plug. They think that was providing the miss. And now with this yellow, they said, hey, come on, let's get back on board and get some laps. He really wants to get experience on a big mile track. He qualified so well, 8th quick. He was so frustrated not to have a chance. He told us he thought he had a top 5 car. Now it's just a situation of going out and getting some laps, getting some experience on a big track.
This is his 6th race of 1999. There are the top 10 after 5 of the 25 laps, with Jason Leffler, Ryan Newman, A.J. Fike, Michael Lewis, and Sarah Fisher the top 5. As we go back on board with Mark de Beaumont, you can see the words in memory of Richard Sewell. Richard owned the number 11 car and passed away recently. Ironically, he succumbed to a battle with cancer at the same time his team was blossoming. He was totally committed to them, and they vowed to carry on his work ethic.
He was definitely a perfectionist, and everything had to be perfect or else he didn't want to come out. And we've kind of tried to live on that legacy as far as making sure the race car is able to win when we come out.
Fortunately, Richard Sewell was able to enjoy his team's finest hour, their first USAC win at Irwindale Speedway in April.
Even when he was sick, he was still doing all he could. And for that win, it just gave him one day out from, he got about being sick for one day.
Just outside Los Angeles, brand new Irwindale Speedway will host the Thunder season finale. For the first time this season, we'll see the USAC Western States Sprint Car Series as they try to tame the half-mile paved oval. And also, many of the drivers you're seeing here today will be on hand for the Western States Midget portion of that show. And there's more. The Coors Light Silver Bullet Series will complete the triple header. The season championship could be on the line in the series' next to last race of 1999. Join us at Irwindale Speedway. All 3 shows on the same night, October 18th, the 1-hour sprint car show at 9 o'clock, then the Midgets in the Coors Light Silver Bullet Series at 10. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. Just about to go back to racing now. Remember, Ryan Newman had taken the lead, but we go back to the previously completed lap before the caution, and that means he has to do it again, and he does it quickly. After the green comes out, Newman goes to the front again.
Leffler got a terrible restart. I'm not sure whether he didn't pick up the throttle in time or he had a little stumble, but he dropped clear back to the 3rd spot on that restart as A.J. Fike also went by him.
Wow, Fike showing some muscle here in this race as he has separated now Newman and Leffler, but maybe not for long. Here comes Jason back on the inside to try to retake that 2nd spot. At the line, it's still Fike, but Leffler has a good run down on the inside.
And look at the difference in the lines those guys are running. Leffler right on the bottom, A.J. Fike clear up at the edge of the black, about as high as you can run without getting into the marbles.
And positions are being traded here in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, these guys back in here really battling each other as Sarah Fisher comes back. She's running on the bottom side, now challenging A.J. Fike.
The battle for 3rd position. Fike on the outside, Fisher to the inside. Fike holds off the challenge for the moment.
Wow, he really likes that high side. I don't know anybody that's running quite that high. Everybody running a little higher than normal here, but A.J. Fike running extremely high on the racetrack.
Meanwhile, young Thomas Meseraull comes up to make it a 3-car battle for position.
Those 3 guys really going at it, guys and gals, I should say, as we drop back. Now we're riding along with Mark de Beaumont, and you can see that he's well back in the pack, but has moved up several positions. Ooh, came right up on Sarah McCune, almost got into the back of her, had to take evasive action to move up the track.
And Dan Drinan slows down. He drops the car down to the apron of the racetrack down the backstretch, so this could cause another caution.
Well, it looks like he made it into the pit area, but that's a tough break for Danny Drinan. Now we're on board with Wally Pankratz. He too following Brian Gerster back here in the pack, trying to move forward, but having a little bit more trouble than he did in the semi.
And here is the 29 of Meseraull now coming up on Sarah Fisher in the battle for third spot. AJ Fike has dropped back, so it's now this two-car battle here for the third spot as Newman and Leffler continue to run first and second.
Thomas Meseraull, a young man, only 18 years of age, as is Sarah Fisher, so two youngsters here battling for that third position.
Meseraull has been racing since he was 8 years of age. He started in quarter midgets, and from all we have seen so far here this afternoon at Fountain, Colorado, this young man has a very bright future ahead of him.
Now we're taking a look at David Steele. He's back in the pack a little ways, but he has been moving up. He's in the red car, now going inside of Jay Drake in that black car right in front of him. Couldn't make it work that time. Meanwhile, AJ Fike is the third car, and he is going backwards on the screen.
And once again, this battle for third spot as Fisher continues to hold on. Meseraull running right behind her. Jay Drake has moved up nicely. He, remember, is one of the transferees from the qualifying race. Started back in the 11th row. Meseraull to the inside, and a good run once again down low, and Meseraull goes to third.
Wow, he got a terrific run off of turn 4. Sarah Fisher looked like she pushed the front end a little bit off of that corner, had to get out of the throttle, and she lost a lot of ground, and he got around her.
Steele and Drake do battle for the 7th position. That's Steele in the red car and Drake in the black number 15.
Yeah, Steele's been, he's been kind of back and forth. He'll go really good for a couple laps. Meanwhile, back up front, Leffler, after that terrible restart, has regained the lead. These two guys are used to battling each other, and this today is no different.
It's basically a two-car battle for the lead. There's some great racing going on behind these guys, but they have, for the most part, separated themselves from everybody else, but they are really going at it. Here's Sarah Fisher coming off corner number 4. Is she slowing down, Larry?
Yeah, it appears that she's something's going wrong with her.
Oh, we have a caution.
Yeah, it might be a caution flag that's caused her problem because she was going very fast down that front straightaway. We thought she might have had trouble.
Chris Schultz has pulled his car off the racetrack, but USAC wants to get it in a safer position. Oh, well, maybe it was more than just the caution because Fisher is on the warm-up lane and coming in.
Well, that's never a good sign in a 25-lap race. You don't make a pit stop unless you've got a pretty major problems. They're going to get her in there and have a look at it very quickly and see if they can do anything about it. But pit stops are not very good. She didn't go behind the wall, so maybe there's hope.
Maybe they can, well, nope, looks like she's taken off the steering wheel. She's loosening the belts, and a tremendous run for Sarah Fisher has come to an end. We have to revert to the previous lap, so Ryan Newman has the lead again. We'll be right back.
Back here at Pikes Peak, the biggest cheer so far this weekend has been for Sarah Fisher, and you got a nice applause as you stepped out, but what put you out?
Well, you know, we've been having a lot of motor problems here this year, and man, I just hate to say it. Every time we're on TV, something happens to this motor.
Well, thanks, blame us.
No, the motor climbed up to 260 degrees, and, you know, they put a dial-a-jet on there so that I'd have somewhat control over it, and it was full rich. And, you know, there's nothing you can really do when something like that happens. Just, you know, hope that you can solve the problem back at the shop. We thought we had it solved from IRP, but apparently we didn't.
And we'll look for her in the Pep Boys Indy Racing League next year on the racetrack. We have a great battle again going on up front. There is Leffler on the outside of Brian Newman and takes the lead again.
I can't imagine how many times these guys have passed each other already in this race. Oh, one car got very high down there coming off of turn number 4, but kept it under control.
And look at Newman. He retakes the lead from Leffler, and Larry Meseraull is right in this thing too.
Meseraull is walking with the tall dogs right now because he's right in there battling with two of the best in the business. This is his first time on a mile racetrack. He's had about probably 20 laps of practice, and then right into this race. Took him a few laps to get going. He was back to 7th a few laps ago, but now he's right up front.
And Jay Drake's good run has come to an end. He heads for the pit area. And once again, wheel-to-wheel battle between Newman and Leffler. And here comes Meseraull to challenge Leffler down the backstretch. Had had a notion to go to the inside, but could not make the pass. He stays back there in third spot. We mentioned how he began his racing career at the age of 8 in quarter midgets. He moved to the micros at age 13, also has competed in the Grand American modified ranks and late model stocks, and now in the midgets. And what a job he's doing here this afternoon at Fountain, Colorado.
He's got a great view of those two guys passing each other every lap. I got to tell you that, because these guys just keep, every time they change their lines, it seems like they get up a little speed. Ryan Newman will run high, and then he'll move to the bottom, and then Leffler will go by him. Unbelievable.
And once again, Meseraull has the notion of going for second spot, but can't do it. So it remains Leffler, Newman, and Meseraull, the top 3 here, as more than half the race has been completed.
They have stretched out a big lead over 4th place. You can see those 3 guys really have about a half a straightaway lead on everybody else. And now Meseraull gets a little bit high getting into 3 and loses a couple of car lengths.
Leffler looking for his 4th win in national midget competition, and Newman looking for his 5th win. Oh, there is Steve Payton, one of the other drivers who came out of the qualifying race and started in the back row. He has some problems and is headed for pit road. Now they get separated. Man, a huge lead for Leffler.
That's the biggest lead we've seen. And look at A.J. Fike. He's lost the right rear tire. I mean, completely lost it. There's nothing there. And Wally Pankratz also into the pit area. Tough break for him. And they're taking the hood off of that car, and that's never a good sign.
And the caution is out, needless to say. Man, a good job of driving apparently by A.J. Fike, because the entire tire is going on the right side, and if he was able to keep it out of the wall, he did a great job of driving down to the inside here. You can see that right rear just shredding off.
Yeah, it's just completely gone. He's trying to get down to get out of the racetrack, but he got off just barely in time before it exploded.
Well, the attrition begins to pick up just a little bit. Wally Pankratz out of the race. Here's Gary.
Bobby had to go through the last chance race, the qualifiers race, but Wally, you were up to 8th, but you knew you had a problem.
Yeah, the last couple laps, I started falling back. It started missing on the top end, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And then coming through 3 and 4, the power steering quit. So the fuel pump and power steering are driven by a hex drive, so it must have been slipping, so I didn't have fuel pressure at the top end of the racetrack. Then when the power steering quit, you know, it tells you even if the motor's running, you're really old. And without power steering, you're done.
You know what? It's tough when you own the race car.
Oh, yeah. I kept envisioning while I was running that I was burning a piston, but I was up to 8th, you know, and I own the car, but I'm too stupid to realize it while I'm out there.
So Pankratz is out of the race, but it's Leffler, Newman, Meseraull, Steele, and Lewis in the top 5, 18 laps completed. Bob Jenkins, Larry Rice, Gary Lee back at Fountain, Colorado, Pikes Peak International Raceway. We are back to racing on lap number 19. Let's watch this battle up front. It is Leffler, Newman, Meseraull, and Dave Steele running in the top 4.
Newman tried to make a move on that restart, but that time Leffler got a much better restart. He wasn't going to let anybody get the better of him. Now, going into turn 3, Newman gets down on the bottom side. He did wiggle a little bit getting in there, but he held it down and didn't make contact with Leffler.
And now Newman goes to the inside and takes the lead once again from Leffler. Nice move there at the start-finish line, and look at Meseraull, who continues to be a contender.
He's hanging right in there. Those guys, every time, it looks like when they go in low into turn 1 and 2, then they have to slide up and lose a lot of speed down the next straightaway. And that allows the guy who just got passed to get a run. Look at Meseraull. He's going to be running second this time by the line. That kid's doing a heck of a job.
He really is. 2 different chassis in use here. Now, the Dryden chassis being used by Ryan Newman, and 2 beasts back there battling for second now. Leffler and Meseraull. Down the backstretch, Meseraull still has second spot, but now here goes Leffler. He retakes the spot.
See, when you drive into a corner that fast, see how he slid up and he lost momentum. Now Meseraull has the momentum because he went in higher and had more straightaway speed, but this time Leffler holds him up. Everybody, you have to sacrifice something. If you go in low to get around a guy, you sacrifice speed down the next straightaway, and that makes a big difference.
Meanwhile, back here, we have a good battle going on between Johnny Heidenreich in the 62 and Michael Lewis, who started on the pole here for this race. They're battling for the 5th spot.
And there's young Chuck Gurney Jr. in that black and white number 74 car. He's back on the racetrack after they got their problem solved. He's just trying to get some experience for next year.
Once again, Heidenreich and Lewis battling. Now they're coming up on Dave Steele, so this becomes a 3-car battle for the 4th and 5th position.
Young Michael Lewis doing a great job. We've kind of ignored him with all the other youngsters in this field. Now then, Chuck Ernie Jr. once again. Oh, he pinches the car and spins.
Ooh.
Jerry Coons Jr. in that yellow car barely missed him. All that traffic behind. Very, very lucky that nobody hits him. Man, oh man.
It has been quite an afternoon for Chuck Ernie Jr. Had trouble at the very start of the race, got on the track, was slicing up through the traffic, getting some experience, and now he spins there in turn number 3 with just 3 more laps to go. Let's take a look at it once again, and look how close Jerry Coons Jr. comes to him.
Yes, he tried to get on the inside of Andy Mitchell. He started drifting up the racetrack, and it just looks like the back end came around. I'm not sure whether he pinched it, but right there, that was very lucky for everybody involved. If you get hit at the speeds they're running here, it's going to be a big-time accident.
Well, what this does is bring out another caution and tighten up the field for 3 miles of racing. Is it going to be Newman, Leffler, Meseraull, or somebody else? We'll be right back. Ryan Newman's sister and mom look on for 3 more laps of racing. Ryan is the leader right now with Leffler second, and then Meseraull in third with Dave Steele running in 4th spot. Pace car off the racetrack. Here we go for the final 3 laps, Larry. This should be great. And Leffler gets a good run coming down. He moves to the inside, tries to take the lead away from Ryan Newman. They're wheel to wheel through 1 and 2.
And Ryan Newman knew what was coming. He moved down to try to block him. And look at Newman. He's a little bit loose as Leffler takes the lead. And the unknown is Meseraull. Nobody knows about this kid or what he's capable of. The first 2 guys, we know they're going to battle each other.
Meseraull has been running midgets for only a little more than a year, but boy, is he impressive today. He tries now to the inside of Ryan Newman to get second place. It won't happen. There are just 2 laps to go now, and Leffler has a car length advantage on Newman, who slips a little bit in turn 2.
He certainly did. You can see that little wiggle, and a small wiggle like that costs you a lot of ground as he lost about a car length to Jason Leffler. Leffler now has a good lead, but it looks like he lost a little bit of it right there.
And Lewis and Heidenreich continue to battle for the 5th position. The white flag is out. 1 more lap to go. And Ryan Newman takes another shot as he goes to the inside in turn 1. Again, they're wheel to wheel all the way through the corner, and Newman has it.
He made that slide job work. He went in low, slid up in front of him, but he lost that straightaway speed we talked about. Now Leffler goes down. He does the same thing. And look at this. Slip and slide, dip and dive.
They may have touched there in 3. Here they come down for the checkered flag. Newman wins it by a half a car length. Unbelievable finish. Wow.
Man, oh man, you don't get much closer than that. They must have passed each other at least 3 different times on that last lap. Neither one of those guys knows the meaning of the word lose.
Well, you won't see a better race any place than that one. Newman wins by a half a car length over Jason Leffler, and young Thomas Meseraull finishes in 3rd. We'll talk to Ryan in just a moment. Well, here are the top 10 finishers. Newman beats Leffler by half a car length. Meseraull finishes 3rd. Steele was 4th. Let's take a look at this final lap again, Larry, and analyze exactly what happened.
Ryan Newman just drove it in there as deep as he could possibly drive it. He slid up and made Leffler get out of the throttle. Leffler gets a little bit of a draft down that back straightaway and does exactly the same thing to him. Just drives it in there deeper than he can stand it, and then Newman has to come back on the bottom. There, they touched. Disaster almost. But they made it by, and Newman wins, and he's down with Gary Lee right now.
Well, Ryan, congratulations, but when the white flag came out, it looked like it was Leffler's race to win. Talk about that pass for the win.
Actually, it was Leffler's race to lose. I mean, I just had to pull something out of you-know-where and drive her down in the corner, and unfortunately it stuck. And, Jason and I raced clean, and that's what's good about Pikes Peak International Raceway racing.
Now, I want you to talk about what happened when you came in to stop in victory lane. What's the problem over here?
I just hit the brakes real hard, coming up to the stop here, and I felt something break, and evidently the radius rods and everything broke in the front end, which is very, very odd. So I guess it's something we'll have to fix with the money we got from wins.
You got something to talk about when you go back to Purdue tomorrow.
Exactly.
Great ride. What a great finish. A half car length advantage at the finish line for Ryan Newman. He couldn't win here in June in that Silver Bullet race. He lost to Tracy, but he won it today. Congratulations.
Let's take a look at the full field rundown here. We showed you the top 10 a few moments ago. Johnny Heidenreich won that battle for 5th position with Michael Lewis. Now, Mark de Beaumont finished in 13th position and put a little bit more between himself and Shane Scully in the Western States points battle. A.J. Davis finishing in the 25th position. Here are the national points, as Leffler's lead now is just 71 over Ryan Newman, with Jerry Coons Jr. third. Back down to Gary Lee with Jason.
Jason, if you looked up the word nemesis in the dictionary, I think you'd find Ryan Newman's picture. You guys have gone at it all season long, and I thought you had that race won when the white came out.
Nah, I didn't think I had her won at all. Just the way the draft works here, just had to figure out where he came. And I knew going into 3 he was going to cut back. I tried keeping it low and pushed up the track. And, he basically just squeezed me up in the wall there, and I had to lift just a little bit. That's what you do to win a race. And, he did a good job. It was a pretty awesome race. And, the car ran good. Steve Lewis, gives me the best equipment, and we ran good.
Well, that drafting is good experience for your season coming up next year in the Busch cars.
Yeah, it is great. It just, didn't work out for us today. I knew he was getting me going into 1, and I knew it was just too hard to get away. He couldn't get away from me, and I couldn't get away from him. And going in that white flag, I'd like to have been second, but unfortunately I wasn't, and that's the way it goes.
But a good job by Jason Leffler. Now, here are the Western States points, and Mark de Beaumont extended his lead a little bit over Shane Scully, who didn't make the transfer. Gary has our 3rd place finisher.
I tell you what, they have some of the best-looking trophies here at Pikes Peak. I know drivers collect trophies and they give them away to race fans. This is the trophy, Tom, you're going to hang on to.
Actually, I'll probably give this to my sponsor, Dino Tomasi Racing. He had the race car. Just phenomenal. The car is the best on the West Coast. I just can't say more about it. I also like to thank Midcoast Transportation, Alvisa Rock, Ed Pink Motors, the best motor right now. That thing was just hitting hard. And Bob East and the Beast car, he helped us. He got us up to 3rd. He was helping us with his chassis setup, and I'd like to thank him a lot.
Tell you what, it's always nice to come from the West Coast and put on a real good show against the national guys.
Well, I run BCRA, and this is for all the BCRA guys that never get a podium for USAC or National USAC. And I just came out here thinking, hey, if I make the main, it'll be good enough. And I just like being in the front of the West Coast guys. I don't run Western States, but I've ran 3 shows, and this is by far my best victory ever in my career.
Great qualifying effort, great ride. Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Our onboard cameras courtesy of CarQuest. For your local CarQuest dealer, pick up the phone and dial 1-800-492-PART. Just an absolutely tremendous race here this afternoon between Jason Leffler and Ryan Newman, with the young rookie, 18-year-old, finishing in 3rd position. Thanks for joining us here at Fountain, Colorado. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com.